Welcome to Count It Off with your host, Jeff Dayton, where we explore the world of music through the eyes of some fascinating guests. So, get tuned up and let's count it off.
All right, everybody. Hey, it's time for Count It Off, your podcast that gives you a fresh new window into the world of music through the eyes of some amazing people. I have got a super talented friend here today named Matt Stell, major label artist, Nashville, Tennessee. Known him for a bit, and he's a brilliant dude. I'll give you a little bit about him here real quick. Matt Stell is an American country music singer known for his back-to-back number one hits, Prayed for You and Everywhere But On. Blending country roots with diverse influences, a background that includes playing college basketball at Drury University and nearly pursuing medicine at Harvard. I picked that up somewhere. He doesn't brag on that, but yeah. But he got a publishing deal. He was raised in Arkansas and Florida, and he's just a great guy all around. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for my friend Matt Stell. Come on.
I love it, Leopold. What's up, man? Good to see you.
It's good to see you, too. I know I'm a little cheesy on the sound effects here, but...
no, I like it. Oh, that's bringing some radio back. That's good.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of like live radio, and try my best not to get all tangled up. How have you been?
Man, I've been great. A lot of changes in 25. Man, we still making music, and that part was actually probably the most stable. But I got married.
Yeah, I ran into you right afterwards.
Yeah. I got engaged on a Friday, married on a Saturday, and our anniversary was 3 days ago, and she's about 5 months pregnant. So
way to go, staying home a little bit.
That's right. Keep me off the road.
What's her name?
Her name's Casey.
Casey. Well, you tell her we said hey.
I did. I will make sure that she knows that y'all said what's up.
Yeah, that's great. And then all the people who listen in this podcast, believe it or not, is about doubling in size every 6-8 weeks.
Wow.
So it's starting to pick up, and we're just the world is open to us. So catching you right now is probably a good thing.
That's great. Well, I'm glad to be here. Absolutely.
Yeah. We've known each other a minute, and we go back to thanks to our mutual friend David Z.
Yeah,
who was Prince's engineer and producer, as a lot of people don't know, maybe do know. We've had some Prince guys on here. We've had Tommy Barbarella and Matt Fink from from the Purple Man himself, and Tommy was the sexy MF in New Power Generation, and Matt was the original keyboard player in the Revolution.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
People have said to me, you know so many people. I say, well, now I get to parlay that in to have some conversations with
Absolutely.
folks.
Some on-the-record stuff. That's great.
So David called me up and he said, I've got this artist named Matt Stell, and he wants to do a record, but I've got to leave and go do a Tab Benoit record down at what was the name of that, the place out in the Delta area, that studio down there.
Oh, man.
Louisiana.
It was somewhere down
Dockside.
Dockside, something like that.
Yeah. And of course, Tab's a huge artist, but David's a great engineer, so great producer. So he said, here he is. And I was like, very cool. And I met him and we talked a lot. And it was clear that he had a songwriter's heart and he had great songs. And I was just tickled that, David thought of me, but I was even more happy that I got to work with a guy who wrote songs like this. Been a while since you heard this one?
It's been a minute, man. The mix is good. Yeah.
Well, my name's Robert Tatum, but most call me Tate. And I've been near everywhere in this state, running the lines, climbing towers and such. I saved all my money cause I didn't need much. My daddy's farm, it was in my blood. I learned from him and it made me tough. He passed on but the home place lives. He raised 1,000 horses and 3 good kids.
That's wild, man.
The farm and the company filled my days. The work was hard but I found a way to support my wife and family. It was a pretty good life for folks like me. A pretty good life for folks like me.
I like that still.
Yeah, man. I remember I wrote that song about a guy that I met. My mom is a barrel racer, and we were picking a horse up or taking a horse somewhere. And the guy that was training it was I wrote that song in probably 2007 or 8. Well, it had to be 8 or 9 because the guy got laid off from either Verizon or AT&T after working there for decades, and kind of got the short end of the stick on his retirement and stuff like that. So he was having to train horses to make money instead of doing it as a hobby. And I remember that hitting me. I went home and wrote that song, and it's wild, man. Like I can tell of some of the bands I was listening to, because that song doesn't have a chorus really. It was like a bunch of the that was my Drive-By Truckers era, which I'm still in, but but a lot of that stuff of they don't spend a whole lot of time caring about repeatable hooks or things like that.
Sing along stuff.
Yeah, the sing along stuff. There's like 3 words to sing along in that song, but yeah, man, that was good, and it sounds good.
I remember you telling me too about the truckers back then, and we were talking about songs for the record, and I was surprised that I didn't know anything about the Drive-By Truckers, and I would have thought they were the drive-through truckers. I don't know, McDonald's or something. And then I'm the last guy. I swear, I was the last guy at Jason Isbell's party as an artist. I didn't know anything about him, and then somehow I bumped into a song called "Traveling Alone," and I just went, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" Now I get it. So I'm a huge Jason Isbell fan.
Right? Yeah,
and puts his heart on the page.
Oh man, I mean he's one of the great ones that we have.
Courageous as heck, man.
Which is like wild because I think let me get this chronology right, but I think it was was it this record or the next one that I went to Muscle Shoals to cut a record with him.
With Jason?
With Jason. This was back before. I mean, this was after Drive-By Truckers, but pre like Americana Jesus, where he's at now.
Yeah.
And I did, and I mean, I wasn't very good, and my band wasn't very good, and that's not why it didn't work out, but it was like, I say all that to say this. I've told this before, but I'd spent a little bit of time around him. I spent a week around him trying to cut a record and hanging out before and after. He always treated me great.
And this is after the Robert Tatum album that we did?
This was, can I see, you have it right there. Can I see the back of it?
Yeah, you bet.
Actually, let me see.
I think it might have been before, because you had worked in Muscle Shoals, you told me, with Rick Hall and all that down there.
Yeah. I had. Actually, I think that this record this record. This record started there in Muscle Shoals, and basically the band broke up during making it.
Okay.
And I was like, well, what am I going to do now? And long story short, I had a friend, my cousin Hannah, who was in a band at the time, hooked me up with David Z, and David Z is how we got hooked up.
Oh man, so, I'm so glad. I'm so glad, because it's always great running into you. I remember one was like, gosh, I don't know, Christmas morning or something like that, like not long ago, a year ago, and I'd see this tall guy in front of me at Walmart walking in the store, and I was like, that's Matt Stell.
You and me have that where people find us in crowds pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, you're 6'7", which is, your basketball pictures are pretty ferocious. I've seen those.
Yeah, pretty fierce.
Yes, Drury University, and you were a star there, man. You guys had a great team and did a lot of good stuff.
Oh man, we used Star Lou. We did have some good teams, and it was definitely, I wouldn't be playing music without me playing ball first, because I started playing in college. We leave, everyone leaves for Christmas break except the basketball teams, and it's like there's nothing going on, and I just sat in my dorm or my apartment with a guitar and a computer screen and tried to learn those tabs of playing songs that turns out you played on, and stuff that you had a hand in creating, or some of the first songs that I learned, and also the canon of songs that white kids from the South learn on guitars, starting out with Skinner and getting into Waylon and all that stuff. And so that was
Marshall
where it started.
Tucker,
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't you see? I'm here by myself in my dorm. Can't you see?
Exactly right, man.
That's great.
Think about how hard times were with it in my college dorm.
So hard. Well, tell me this. A question just popped in my mind. If you were done with music, what would you think about coaching basketball, working with young kids?
I've thought about that before. I would love to do it. I think my perspective now, first off, I have friends that are coaches, and I know the game, but I would have a lot to learn as a coach. Like I would want to definitely go. Like the process would be, hopefully I would work with, be an assistant somewhere and learn a lot, because there's a lot to learn. But
sure.
But especially if you're doing it if you're coaching younger kids, or the focus for me would be the life skills part of it. Because those are the things that even playing ball, at like not the highest level, but I was fortunate enough to get my school paid for doing it, and knowing what really I got out of that is like personal enrichment and just all the benefits that sports, like you being a swimmer, we were talking about the things that you learn about being on a team, about grinding, about doing stuff you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. And
you standing on the court when you don't want to be, or me staying in the water when I'm tired, I want to go home.
Exactly. With me, with my tongue, not wanting to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it does wear you out a little bit. I had the joy of coaching YMCA soccer down there at Concord Road for 10 years, working with the kids.
Oh, wow.
Ages 5 up through 10. And I stopped at 10 because that's when the parents got too frenetic. They were like, one guy with his "I'm so soccer" $100 Italian silk, shirt on, comes running out there on the field and sticks his finger in my face about something I called on a game, and I was like, I can't work with parents that are this uptight about soccer. So
yeah, for sure. And I think to myself, because having a kid on the way, I've learned to temper my opinions as best I can, because by all accounts, your perspective and your world changes when kids are involved. Yeah. But I really endeavor not to be that dad. Although I bet a lot of people are that way. And,
mad dad.
Yeah, mad. But it's like I say that, but then like last Sunday when my wife's from Baltimore and she loves football, so it's just we just
she was
Ravens.
Tortured by the Ravens.
Oh my God, yeah. But so we root for the Ravens, right? And we were both just screaming, cussing, mad at the TV, and it's like, oh man, if I can't do it, if I can't chill on this couch, what's it going to be like when I got a kid in the game?
Yeah. Well, do you know if you're having a boy or girl?
Have a little boy.
All right. Yeah. Way to go. Well, maybe he'll, do something that you do, and he can learn from dad.
Maybe so.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Hopefully he learns from mom. That would be way better.
Well, she's got to be a good one to have you. So,
well, she is that. She's
cool.
Pretty awesome.
One of my favorite things about coaching was not so much just getting kids to win, because that wasn't the goal for me.
Right.
The goal was having everybody on the team enjoying being on the team. And I'd have that one kid that all he mostly did was kick grass and kick the ball off the field and still chase it, it was still in play. And I'd get him in there and he'd kick a goal. And I remember just like, you like that? And they go, yeah. You want some more of that? Yeah. Well, let's go get it. Okay. That kind of thing, where you light a kid up with that. I had a kid, and I wish I could remember who it was. He was kind of like that. Remember the player named Christian that came from the U.S. that went?
Yeah, Pulisic. I can't pronounce his name, but yes, he plays for Paris now. He was in.
He got picked up by Dortmund originally. That was the first place they got him. But I had a kid that was like that. He was unbelievably coachable and mellow, and he'd go down with his right foot and kick it, and it'd go left of the goal. I said, well, how about next time what do you want to do? He goes, use my left foot. And then he'd go down there and boom, and he just, that kind of kid is a special part of coaching too. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I hope you find that when you do it. What was the first guitar you had? Well, I should say I'm cheating because I heard about your first guitar, but what would you tell us about your first guitar and how the bug bit you?
My first guitar came on my, Christmas at 11 or 12 years old. And it was one of those situations where I got it out and I strummed around on it, and it went back in a closet for another 6 or 7 years. Oh, yeah. And I didn't mess with it other than Christmas morning. And then it was a little, one of those little Honer guitars,
Yeah. POS.
Yeah. But I remember when I was in school, I was actually I found out, to tell the story, I'll back up a little bit. I thought growing up, I always loved music a lot, and I always knew every single song on the radio, on country radio, and most of the pop, or less of the pop, but most of the alternative stuff. I knew it all. And I just thought that I thought that was how music affected everybody. And so when I got to college, I was like, oh, wow, I really have a passion for this and this kind of music. And, before I went to school, actually, my aunt and uncle got me a mandolin because I was kind of into, my dad liked bluegrass music. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll learn a mandolin. It's got 8 strings, but it's really only 4 notes. I can chunk along. It'd be fine.
Yeah.
And so I started, I got it and I learned, just a few little like cheaty chords. But I was kind of playing it to sing, and I didn't even know I could sing, but I was just kind of playing it to play songs.
Yeah.
And why don't you get you a guitar? And I was like, yeah, maybe. And then, man, it was that Christmas break playing ball, and nothing's going on. School's not in session. If you're not traveling, you're practicing a few hours a day, and then the rest of the time is yours. And then that's where I learned. And so I was like, hey, Mom, next time you come up, will you bring that guitar? From my childhood, from that bedroom closet. Yeah. She was like, yeah, and brought it up, and that's where I learned. I don't even know where I gave that guitar away to somebody, but I can't remember.
My first guitar was a Stella, and it was a little 3/4 size with, a plywood body and painted sunburst. I mean, it wasn't even sunburst. It was just a paint job, and it had a ski jump neck on it. And of course, back then, we didn't even know that changing strings made it better. So I had the same strings on it for the whole time.
Yeah, right.
Unless one broke. And when I put, later on when I got into changing strings, I used to save the old ones in case the world was coming to an end and I needed more strings.
In case you needed it, yeah.
Oh, God, what a hippie. Let's play some more of your music. This is your current record, and this is called Sugarcoat. Our guest, Matt Stell, here on Count It Off. Big pop production there, Lynn.
Yeah, I'll tell you about this. Is a sort of a new project I'm working on, yeah.
New seats on, trying to catch my breath. Nightstand phone buzzing itself to death. And the light from the midnight calls is throwing the shadows on the wall. You make the bittersweet lies lily white, lying in the night, in my arms wide open. You make the memories gray in my mind, shades of a spine, till my heart ain't broken. I know it's bad for me, I shouldn't keep you close, but I just love the taste of your sugar coat.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that song is off this new project called The Drift that, I've spent my last, years, I was very lucky to have some success at country radio and be an artist in that world. I never really, even going back to when me and you were making records together, I had a much more like indie Americana, like Red Dirt.
You were pretty fierce about that. You were real adamant about that.
I like, and so I thought when I was moving to town that I was going to do what some of my heroes had done, which is like write songs for artists and then follow my muse, and kind of have my band that did its own thing. And I got to town, and when I finally signed a publishing deal, 6 months or so, we made an EP, and we're trying to figure out what songs to put on it. Yeah. And me and my manager at the time, we agreed on like 6 of the 7 or 5 of the 6, whatever it was. But he was like, we should put this song that I'd written with him and another friend of ours. I said, you should put Prayed For You on this. And I was like, okay, cool. I try to not be stubborn as much as I can. And I did, and we put it on that EP, and it changed my life, putting that song on an EP. It made me the artist. It made me like a country radio artist. I'm so lucky and proud of that. There's a million ways that doesn't happen. But it's not what I thought was going to happen, right? So,
well, I guess that means that people should go 1,000,001.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. That's a good song title.
Well, I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
See you next week.
That's right. That's right. And but anyway, so I had enjoyed some success with that song. That was very much me writing a song about my friend Allison Veltz's like experience. It was kind of, she had met this guy the day before, and she was like, I feel like I prayed for him, and and we wrote that song based on that. And I like we're talking about Isbell or whoever. Kenny Rogers, probably didn't learn how to play poker from a hobo in a freight car, right. But for some reason, it's like, so I'm telling someone else's story in the same way that that people do. But in country radio, and in country music, and in a lot of music, you are the protagonist in it. People will put you in that I prayed for you, So it's like, well, it's you, right? I did write the song. I was very proud of it, but I wrote it in very much the spirit of telling a story. And so, very lucky to have number one with that. And then Everywhere But On was a little bit more like in the vein that I wanted to do, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, we'd spent time with country radio, and they'd been, people have horror stories. I largely don't, man. There's obviously things that you would wish were done different, and I got the short end of the stick a couple times that I didn't feel was right. But at the end of the day, country radio treated me pretty well, and but now I'm in a place where I can write songs. I've enjoyed having some cuts with some other artists, and I can kind of follow that muse a little bit.
That's great.
And moreover, that muse not being something I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be something. I just kind of write whenever comes out. That does, and I have a team and a label and a publishing company that supports that.
Many hands on one job.
That's right. That's right. And it takes all of that, and it takes everybody's incentives to be. So anyway, to say all that to say, that's the first song off this project that's
the song we just heard, Sugarcoat.
Yeah, that doesn't really have a genre in mind. It's
very open.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that was
acoustic
kind of the idea.
at first. It's kind of deceiving, Yeah.
I kind of try to do it where I like kind of Ghost in the Machine stuff. Like I want some analog, I want some real feel, but I do like using some digital sounds.
Oh yeah, and that low end sub kind of thing on that when that comes in, and
that's sub-based
it's
stuff.
Almost like Sting got in there and messed with you guys a little bit too. Put some.
I'll take that,
or Phil Collins or somebody.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, and the way that some of that earliest stuff that had those digital elements, but were still,
or Genesis.
Yeah, right. Still had a lot of acoustic or analog, I should say. Instruments with that digital, like I like digital as a flavor. I don't like it when it is the main course.
Okay.
So that's kind of where that project has come from, and the rest of the stuff doesn't sound anything like that song either. So it's like
So you writers out there, are you taking notes because Matt's giving it away?
Well, I mean,
you had a master class from a label artist. I mean, that's a big deal.
Well,
and by the way, in my searching around and looking back up all the things you've done and catching up on you online, I ran across a multi-episode series on Vivo, you doing interviews about your career. And you talked about how one song changed it all. And I thought, that I really needed to hear that today, because I got I have 18 albums now.
18 albums.
18 albums, but I take a lot. I've told this story, so forgive me. But, Willie Nelson wrote Hello Walls and Crazy, big writer, but could not get arrested as a recording artist. And he did 17 albums that were a complete flop. None of them caught fire ever. And it wasn't until Red-Headed Stranger in 1975, his 18 album,
that's wow,
that he hit it. And this is my 18th album.
There you go, right on schedule.
Hope,
Yeah, but you've had a lot of, you've had a huge musical like life other than that.
Kind of like your ride at Drury. Glenn Campbell gave me a 15-year ride. And Kenny Chesney gave me a great ride, and Lee Greenwood gave me a great ride. And, I've gotten to do a lot of different things, and we were talking about Hawaii and all the things that we get to do. And for me, I think, and this goes to some of the other things about your life that I love, is that you've got a spiritual commitment to doing things for others. And I watched on that same video about you going to you went to Haiti and worked with some kids there, and just kind of, you were an inspiration. And I looked at those kids looking at you. I mean, first of all, 6, 7 in Haiti, not often,
Well,
but so that's what I believe about you. Is that true?
Well, I mean, I think part of to me of living the dream is getting to do things for other people. And I don't mean to make it sound like I do all that, much necessarily, but it is part of the dream, is getting to affect positive change and getting to do it without just getting to do it, to be honest with you. And, Haiti, and, I've been really lucky, and this with country music has been, tied in with St. Jude for so long. And St. Jude, Memphis is, sort of like a home game for me. I've got family there, and it's close to home. So, it kind of feels like, it feels like something close to, it feels like the best thing about where I'm from. And yeah, man, I mean, it just, I feel like kind of selfish about it sometimes for how good it makes me feel to get to do something very small for, people that need it. And, I just feel like it's its own blessing, it's just like, it's part of the dream. Yeah.
I think it's different when you've got somebody like you coming in with your heart and ready to give it away, as opposed to somebody who's parading in with robes and people fanning them and saying, isn't he amazing? Isn't he amazing? Isn't he amazing? And look at all my awards and look at all my prestige, and leaving nothing behind but the experience of meeting that person. Whereas, you're willing to get your, roll up your sleeves and get in there and help. I've been hearing a few times lately a great phrase, nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something.
Yeah, man, that's true. And I don't know that anything, talk about bang for your buck or like bang for your effort, that gives you the feeling that just those small acts can do. I mean, it really enriches your life, or it enriches one's life. It does mine to be able to do something, no matter how small it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, I still feel like I'm like selfish doing it, but it's certainly its own reward,
Yeah. What's one of the coolest things that's happened to you during the time you were talking about having a couple of big records, a couple of moments for you that were really special?
Oh, playing the Opry for the first time was really special, man. I had, I'm from a town of 300 people in Arkansas, and 295 of them showed up to. It was like that. It was like
it was another home game.
It was another home game, man. It was like that. It was like, if you remember Hoosiers, when the whole town's following the bus to go watch Jimmy Chitwood play with Hickory against whoever, and it was a lot like that. And I had family coming up from Texas and Carolinas and Florida, and I got to have his big crew backstage, and man, some people that haven't left Conway County, haven't left the state of Arkansas in decades, and only leave Conway County when they have to go see a specialist in Little Rock or maybe Memphis to make that trip. Yeah. It was still really special, and I would probably say that looking back, that was probably a big deal.
That's very cool. How about another one? Maybe something off the wall.
Oh man, off the wall. It's just so much like random stuff. Like, one time, CMT hit us up kind of last minute because they wanted to shoot some like content in Hawaii. Speaking of Hawaii, and they were like, "Hey,
my life is so hard."
You're right, exactly. We're like, "Man, we'll get you out there. Take care of everything.
Oh gosh,
you and your handler." And I was like, okay, cool. So instead of hitting my tour manager up, I called up my best friend, and I was like, hey, bro, why don't you meet me in Hawaii? Bring your wife. I was single time. I was like, I'm going to bring my mom for Christmas, and we're going to go to Hawaii, and I've got to shoot like some content for CMT, with the military out there at the military bases.
Yeah, did you go to Hickam?
I will forget the names. I was between
Schofield?
I was between a couple of them.
Yeah.
Because they'd fly us between them on helicopters. Okay. And that's when I learned that helicopters, when they're moving, are awesome. Helicopters, when they're just hovering 1,000 feet or whatever feet up in the air, I don't care for that. I like it when they're moving. I do not like it when they're just hovering. And the doors were open. And I mean, my lizard brain was taken over, and I mean, I was white knuckled to whatever I could hold on to. I mean, my foot, your foot was just like hanging off, and it's like, man. But we did. So we go to Hawaii, and I took my best friend, and by the end of it, like the CMT folks have always been great to us, and they were like, talking to my buddy Will, they were like, man, y'all have such a great rapport. You work so well together. Let us know if you got any other artists that you want to work with. And Will's like, I'm a real estate appraiser, man. I just came out here, kind of spilled the beans, and so it became a running joke. Yeah. And then so I got to take my mom out there. We all learned how to surf, and it was really cool. Everything was cool, but we went to a luau, and that was pretty lame. But other than that, it was cool.
It's it's sort of like you go to Arizona and you get a cowboy cookout.
Right.
Cold beans and a burnt steak, and
that's right.
Somebody doing trick roping,
exactly.
Or Frosty the Bull, where they put the CEO on the bull and then he's got to stick his head up the bull's tail end. That whole thing.
No,
or the bull peas in a bucket. That's a big deal. So.
Oh well, there you go. Yeah, it's a part of the culture. Yeah,
that's right. So it's that. And Dennis Alley and the Wisdom Indian Dancers, who played at every Farm Aid with Willie Nelson forever. He was that guy.
Okay.
And he was a regular on all those cowboy cookouts out west. You know, I ran into TJ Hockenfeld in the airport during the big shutdown that Delta had when their software went glitchy a year and a half ago. And we were sitting here in Nashville, and he's about your size, you know, and he's got his ball cap on backwards. He's got hair squirting out the back, you know, and everybody's running up for selfies, and I didn't recognize him, but I said to him we were just sitting across from us in the gate area, you know, and it was a long wait because we were there for hours. And I said, well, I'm in the music business, and that looks like you're somebody, you know, and just figured I'd let it clear out. But what do you do? He said, well, I play a little football. I said, you know.
Yeah.
And he told me who he was, and I said, oh, dude, I remember when you came over from Detroit just a few years ago, and what an immediate impact you made on the Vikings, you know. And so we just started talking about parallels between music and pro sports and all that. And then I asked what I think was a pretty good question, and I'll ask you this question. You know, I said, when you get your head full of you, do you have any normal friends? I mean, do you have anybody that you call that you can get right again? And he said, yeah, I got some guys I went to high school with down in Iowa. I call them, and they straighten me out. Yeah,
it's the same way for me. I got a couple friends from high school and college that I keep in touch with, and my buddy Will I was just talking about. You know, he lives down in Texas, and his whole friend group has become a big friend group of mine, and I'm just like another douche in the group text, you know, saying wild stuff and which, by the way, me and Will also, I played Adam Thielen's foundation back when he was still on the Vikings.
Oh, what a great
dude, man.
Yeah.
Him and his family, and I had lost my voice that day, and we were playing. It was whatever.
I was a big fan of his just for walking on and scoring a gig with the Vikings when he was just a walk-on.
Oh, yeah, D2 walk-on, great golfer.
Undrafted,
yeah.
And then the next thing you know, he's a Pro Bowler.
Yep. Yeah. So he's in the playoffs right now.
Yeah. Well, who's he playing with now?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, what a good move.
He signed with the Steelers when the Vikings were basically eliminated. They did him a favor, and because this would probably be his last year, and they were like, go sign someplace else, but he'll retire a Viking, obviously.
If you could play pro sports, would you stick with basketball?
No, I might. I mean,
or would you rather be like a wide out or something like that?
No. If I was assumed a baseline of success, I think it's hard to beat golf. Okay. And it's my favorite thing to do now. But if not, I would definitely be like a middle reliever, have my money guaranteed and pitch every fifth day. And I'm left-handed. I really messed up. Like I quit baseball and t-ball because I didn't like taking turns. And I really messed up.
Kind of a ball hog. Huh?
Yeah. I should have learned how to just throw. I should have just learned how to throw strikes, and just a couple strikes here and there, and they would need me for whatever right-handed hitter that's hard comes up. And I
love baseball.
Yeah,
I'm a huge baseball fan.
Yeah, I'm like a baseball fan on September 29th. Then I care, but I can't get through the whole season. My wife is like. She loves football, but I drag her kicking and screaming into NBA basketball because that's my favorite thing. And she's a good sport, but that's my marathon sport that I watch the whole time. But
I was riding on an airplane. It was Southwest, and I think Iowa had something to do with the flight, or Phoenix, I forget which. And I sat down next to a tall guy about your size, and it turned out his name was Eric Thompson. And he was a pitcher for the Cubs organization, and he had just made the bump up to AAA.
Oh, that's cool.
And he was like, man, he said, I finally get my own room, and we don't pay for our gear. You know, they give us all this stuff, and we're not it's just great. You know, we're riding on airplanes instead of buses. And he said, if you ever see me at a game, come up to me. I'll give you a glove and a bat. And I was like, that sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he was a fireballer. You know, he was a right-handed fireballer, and I think he threw his arm out right after that. And he played for Albuquerque or the Cubs or somewhere out there. You know, but what a dream though, and so hard to get to. I had a guitar student back in the days named Austin Manahan, and his twin brother or his older brother. Anthony Manahan ended up being from just being average guitar students of mine when they're 12 years old. But their dad was totally into baseball and would take them to Omaha every summer and got them a batting cage and a machine he bought from the Dodgers, and they had Mizuno gloves, and they were really focused on it, and they ended up playing for Arizona State under Jim Brock.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, that was like College World Series stuff.
Sure.
They both got drafted, And he went to the Pirates, and the next time I saw him, he was wearing an apron in a banquet hall. We were doing a Glenn Campbell show, and I said, "What the heck are you doing here?" He said, "Man, all I ever got to was AA, and it's not the life for me. I wanted a family." So
yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely like, I mean, music is a lot that way too. I mean, I was kind of staring at, it was later in life where I had success, you know, and it is like a, you know, good money after bad money kind of calculation that you have to make, because, you know, you start looking around in your late 20s and people are, you know, buying houses and having kids and are talking, you know, you don't even have anything to add to the conversation about interest rates and about, you know, HELOCs and shit. And so it does, you know, you put pressure on yourself, and then you're like, you know, then you start doubting yourself, and it's like, you know, and sometimes it's probably, you know, smart to quit, to give it a roll and then quit, but then sometimes you stick with it and you never know.
Yeah, you're having lunch at the country club with all the golfers, and they say, "What's new with you?" You say, "Well, I just bought a Gens-Benz amplifier." You want
Black Pearl, that's
Black
right.
Pearl.
Still got that thing.
Do you really? That's
Yep.
great. Well, Jeff Gensler is still at it with Gensler Amplification, and he's a great guy. Let's listen to that song we've been talking about all this time. This is "Prayed for You." Our guest, Matt Stell.
Never been one to ask for help. If I need a mountain moved, I'm moving myself. I ain't the church pew regular, twice on Sunday, quote you the scripture kind. I'm far from a preacher, but I'm a believer. 'Cause every single day before I knew your name, I couldn't see your face, but I prayed for you. Every heartbreak trail went on hope fail. On the highway to hell, I prayed for you. I kept my faith like that old King James said I'm supposed to. It's hard to imagine bigger than I could fathom. I didn't know you from Adam, but I prayed for you.
That, folks, is a #1 record right there. Our guest, Matt Stell. Thanks for sharing that story behind that song, too. And we're real proud of you. I mean, there's good things ahead, obviously. This new project with Sugarcoat, tell us a little bit about where that's going.
Yeah, man, it's called The Drift. And, you know, basically, I would turn in a bunch of songs that were left to center or just like weren't radio songs, let's say, you know, it didn't fit that format. And, you know, beforehand, that was never like discouraged, but in previous situations, that was kind of like, oh, that's cool. But we're kind of, you know, okay, well, what do we got? What's the next hit, you know, for radio? And again, nothing against like radio. That's a whole topic, but it's been good to me. And I played that game for a while. And I might go back to playing that game. You never know. But anyway, I had some songs built up, and I just, you know, my publisher now just kind of believed in some stuff that I was doing. It's like, man, what if we just kind of gave you the reins to do what you want? What would you do? And it's like, well, I would kind of turn in some songs. And they were like, okay, cool. Well, let's build a label around this. And they did, you know, and
Very cool.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, you know, I'm driving the ship creatively, me and, you know, the team that I've got, and you know, their input has been very valuable in a lot of the stuff that I've done thus far, and it's just been a great partnership with them, and I'm really excited to do some different stuff.
Well, you had a career of different. I mean, you've gone for, I call it chasing the bunny down Music Row. You know, I don't have any more time for that, and I've been known to say that I'm not doing that. So what I'm doing is writing songs for me. You know.
Oh, 100%, man. And I think, you know, I've talked to a lot of my, like, you know, people that have been places that I want to be, you know, like you've been on stages that I want to be on. And, you know, like I've met some heroes of mine, right? And, and had like, I've only had like one conversation with this guy. I don't even feel great about dropping his name because it'll sound like we're closer than we are. I don't know him other than one conversation at a Christmas party. But Alan Shamblin told me,
one of my heroes. Oh Lord,
yeah, he's
Good
one of
God.
and he was telling me, he was like, and my publisher introduced him to me because he's like, man, I think y'all might have, you know, something to say, and I was, or you know, some stuff to talk about. He was talking about. He's like, dude, he said, I got to town trying to write songs, and I was doing this. Right when I thought people wanted to hear,
Right.
and he said it wasn't until I was like, they were like, gave me the freedom to, hey, go back to Texas or wherever it was, write some songs, man. And he came back and he had Walked on Water, which is one of my favorite Randy Travis songs ever. And then, he goes on this run of these amazing songs. And, once you get on the business side of this and once you get a taste of it, some of the you almost start, I shouldn't say, I almost start to doubt a little bit of the mystical, follow your heart advice. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I've definitely seen it work when it's not that, And so it's well, how much do now that I have a payroll and now that I have to pay obscene amount of money to keep a bus on the road a year, I have to start making decisions like a responsible adult. And maybe there's something to that, but for me, it certainly didn't help the music, when I'm trying to guess what people want to hear that I don't even like the kind of music that they like, so it's, it'd be like me trying to, cook Thai food, right? I don't I'm guessing, I don't know.
Right.
But to hear him say that and to him to be in the position of of having a publishing deal. So basically somebody saying, I'll give you some money to write some songs with the hope that they're going to make that money back somehow. But then for him to go, no, I just had to connect with what I thought was cool and it worked out. It was a special conversation, and so I'm taking some of that to heart on my personal stuff, and I really enjoy writing songs for country radio for other people, or just songs for other people because I get to use a different voice. So it's not you know what it's like when you're writing your own. You've written 18 records, and sometimes for me it gets a little stale when I'm constantly writing for myself because it's the same
I've been
voice
here before.
Here I am where exactly. And so I love the I got a cut coming out on an artist, a girl who I think is fantastic, and I had this title and wrote it, and I was getting to write from a girl's perspective. I love that because it's so different. You get to say different stuff. You get to approach things a different way. And again, I wrote it with her, so I'm I'm not putting words in her mouth, but I do have this idea, this perspective, and it's so much fun.
Hopefully someday somebody's digging through my wood pile and they go, man, there's a lot of cut, cured, dried firewood in here. Perfect size for my fireplace.
Dude, I love that. That's a great metaphor.
I've got two writer stories to tell you, and one is Alan Shamblin, and he came to Arizona years ago to help with the Arizona Songwriters Association's monthly meeting, and John Iger gets all the kudos for that one. And Alan was there, and he was going, what you going to rhyme with? Love today, love today. Right? So back in those days for him, probably. And the other was I was writing with Bill Shore when I was at Black River as a writer, and Bill was also a guy who had had a George Strait cut. And I said, well, Bill, the first time we're sitting down having coffee, and I said, well, what do you feel like doing today? He goes, well, we could write a great song, or we can do rhyme practice.
Right. He's exactly right, dude. I remember you saying that one time about having rhyme practice, and it's so true, man.
I already said that one. Oh, doggone it.
No, I just remember something you told me that stuck with me, a while ago that's great.
Well, here's one, hopefully, folks, that's going to stick with you. This is another song from the Vestibule Blues album that we worked on together. This is one called Piney Woods. A favorite of mine, Matt. Love the song.
When I was on by the big Great Lakes, my hands and feet, they always shake. Wishing I was home where the rice birds fly, where the river and the ocean meet the sky. I lost my heart in the piney woods. She said, you can't change the city. Yes, I could. Never dare, though I probably should. I lost my heart in the piney woods. I'll never entertain regret.
I hit the
there it is.
I really enjoy that song. That's a good one,
man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm having those memories of cutting that and
over at Black River.
Yeah, at Ronnie's place, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that was my first experience of doing it that way, and how quick that stuff comes together. And I learned a lot, man.
Great band in there too.
Had a great band. Some people I still have worked with. Oh, Lonnie Wilson's son, and Lonnie, right?
Yeah.
Was it Wilson?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
His son and I write songs together all the time. He's got a bunch of Laney Wilson cuts and stuff. So it's every time I walk in there, like he's got a plaque hanging up. And
yeah, Lonnie's one of my faves, and he's on everything I've been doing for like the last 5 albums.
That's
he's
great.
Just a tremendous player. We were sitting around cutting over at the studio, and I had Brent Mason there and Jimmy Carter, and Jimmy's been playing all of the Zach Top stuff on bass.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and Scotty Sanders and great players, and like you said, we got a great town. And I said to Lonnie, I said, how many number one records have you played on? Because he did all the Brooks and Dunn and Rascal Flatts and Luke Bryan, all my friends. He co-wrote that, and produced.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
And he said, I think about 120 number ones and 400 top tens.
It's wild.
And I said, Brent, how many have you been on? And I think it was Carter across the room. And he goes, all of them.
All of them. Hey, he's a reason that I'm a Black Pearl owner. That was great. That was a great time.
It was a fun bunch.
It's a fun bunch, man. We got that.
And David Biondolillo at the board. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, who played keys on that? I forgot.
Jimmy Nichols.
Jimmy Nichols played keys on that. Just some memories that I have of cutting that.
One of mine was where you're leaning back with your hands behind your head, stretched out, and you're just kind of like way back in the easy chair, and you're saying, I want some banjo on this next one, but I don't want none of that dang Keith Urban banjo.
Yeah, I'm not like...
You wanted the 5-string, man. You did not want that 6-string.
I want a claw hammer banjo.
Yeah.
I need that thing rolling.
Well, dude, you are such a fun guy to have over here, and we've had a bunch of... Chris Lusinger just came by and did an interview.
Oh, great, yeah.
Did all the Garth Brooks stuff, and it's picking up some steam.
That's great, man. Well, I really appreciate you having me, and it's great to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you, too, and we're not done. We're going to give you a little taste of Heaven and Back. This is another Matt Stell. I want everybody to run out and download your stuff, man.
Right.
Like crazy. Over and over. Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell.
Gas in a console cup, waiting on you to fill it up so it don't melt. Girl, I'm driving like hell. When I roll up, baby, hopping fast. A July sun like this won't last. Yeah, you and me got somewhere to be. Cross cattle bridge just south of town, where the river bends and the moon shines down through the moss and them old live oaks. It turns the dirt into streets of gold. Pull over, pull you close to me, get all wrapped up in them angel wings. Tan lives in a dashboard glow. Like a shark of blue. Baby, don't you wanna go? I got a sky on fire and a bottle of Jack. It's a hell of a night to go to heaven and back.
Yeah, indeed.
Come on.
Yeah, a real guy with real lyrics. He puts his heart on the page, and he writes his stuff, and he tours all over, and dynamic performer. I remember we, happened to be down at the Floribama the same time a few years ago.
Yeah.
And they said, we got to get going. We got to help with the pop-up concert. I said, who you got? They said, Matt Stell. I said, I'll be right there.
That's right. You were playing on the yacht club side, right?
Yes, indeed. I love playing down there because it's just such a relaxed place. I mean, anything goes, and there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
Perdido Key.
That's right.
Yes,
man.
indeed. Well, man, thank you so much, and we'll cut you loose here. I know you got a busy schedule, and you probably got a press conference to go to in a minute.
I'm actually cutting a vocal on the next thing I'm doing here in 20 or in 30 minutes. So.
Okay, well, you best get going, okay? I'll just give you one more thing to do if you would. Just say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Hey, baby.
Thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this show. We invite you to check out all the other episodes and share this channel with all of your friends. Until next time, peace.